above self. So we want to say thank you to all of those who made that trip possible. And of course, we did so in pocket. Those who went there, we went there in pocket. We had to pay our own money, man, to get there. Pay for our food, pay for everything else. So that's what Terry and the call. And thank you all so much. Mr. Kino, P. Kino, could you please come up? Can you do? Thank you very much, Mr. President. Come on, give our president a round of applause, please. He's doing a wonderful. All right, you do better than that. Come on, carry the mantle. The mantle for the last 7 months. He has but 2 more months left. But we're so happy and delighted to have our guest presenter today. We want to give her enough time to present. And 1.5. Forget. This one, when you were presidency, you were waiting to come to the end of your. When I walk the last mile of the way.
President Sam has said that there are 2 good days in the life of a president.
What are the 2 good days?
The last day.
That sounds like a joke that Tony would say.
Mr. Incoming, we know a lot of fellas, as they come and take new office, they start all kind of haywire thing. We don't want you to start deporting Rotarians.
You want me to start now? You want me to start haywire stuff now? I'm good at that. But anyway, we have our guest presenter. We have to behave ourselves. We have guests with us today. And I just noticed we have some guests online. Who is that we have online visiting with us today? Who is that we have? Today we have Charlene. Charlene is a Rotarian. Rotarian? Who is that we have? Charlene. Charlene, how you doing? Rotary Club of New Providence. Good to have you with us, Charlene. I saw the other Charlene. Charlene Seeley, it's good to have you with us. Jamie, good to have you with us. And of course, Laverne is online. I hope I got everyone. And we want to give our presenter enough time because she's going to be dealing with a very serious topic that of course has been affecting quite a number of our children in our industry. They are the future. So I'm going to invite Danny to come and introduce our speaker today. And please, if you have any questions, please save them till the end. She's going to be more than happy and willing to take your questions. Danny?
So our speaker today is, good afternoon, Terry. Our speaker today is Laverne Smith, is the founder of Safe Stop Abuse for Everyone, a nonprofit organization based in Nassau, Bahamas, dedicated to raising awareness of violence against children and supporting adult abuse survivors. A passionate advocate, the Smith mission is rooted in her own experiences, which fuel her drive to be a voice for the vulnerable and a catalyst for change. Her work with SAFE has helped to educate children, empower families, and foster resilience through counseling, awareness programs, violence prevention initiatives. She is currently pursuing a bachelor's degree in psychology at Walden University and continues to inspire action through community collaboration and bold advocacy. She is a proud wife, Corporal 3964 Lamont Smith of the Royal Bahamas Police Force, with the second of 4 children. The firm vision is clear: a village Bahamas where every child is safe, every survivor is supported, and every community has the tools to heal and thrive. Please join me as we welcome Laverne Smith.
Good on everyone.
Afternoon.
Good afternoon, everyone. When I came in, it was such high spirits, you know what I mean? Like you guys were so vibrant. So with this topic, of course, you guys heard, it's not an easy topic to get into. I like to say before I actually do speak to an audience that if there are times when things might feel a bit heavy, might be too much for you, healing is a journey. And the reality is a lot of us really have yet to start our journey. So just let you guys know, if anybody needs to step out, that's fine. So today I will be presenting on protecting potential child abuse awareness and advocacy in the Bahamas. Let's be the adult we all needed when we were younger, is what I often tell myself and those who I come across. If you think about your childhood when you were in school, on the playground, all of us, and then a lot of people, they don't understand it, but children do have struggles. Children do be under a lot of stress, it's possible. And when I was younger, I would always hear adults say, oh, you don't stress your kid. Oh, yeah, there's no such thing as stress when it comes to children. But there are children who are in homes who are experiencing unspeakable things and things that go silent. So with this mission, with SAFE, I strive to be the adult that I needed when I was a kid. So what is child abuse? According to UNICEF, child abuse can be defined as an act or failure to act on the part of a parent, guardian, and or caregiver that results in the death, serious physical or emotional harm, sexual abuse or exploitation of a child, or which places the child in an imminent risk of serious harm and or seriously impacts the child's long-term development and potential. There are four main types of child abuse: physical abuse, sexual abuse, emotional abuse, and neglect. Physical abuse is the intentional physical harm to a child, such as hitting, burning, or shaking. It excludes reasonable discipline, but includes excessive or violent actions. Sexual abuse is any sexual act or exploitation forced on a child by someone that is in a position of power. This includes inappropriate touching, penetration, exposure to pornography, or involvement in sex work. Emotional abuse is persistent rejection, threats, insults, or isolation that damages a child's self-worth or emotional development. Witnessing domestic violence can also be a form of emotional abuse. And lastly, we have neglect, which is the failure to meet a child's basic needs, like food, shelter, medical care, which is considered medical neglect, or supervision, putting their health or development at serious risk. The reality of child abuse in the Bahamas. So our Prime Minister said at the National Forum on the Primary Prevention of Violence in the Bahamas that took place on January 16th of this year, he said, violence diminishes our collective potential, erodes our communities, and casts a long shadow over future generations. In the Bahamas, we are painfully familiar with the cause of violence every year. Hundreds of children endure abuse, 583 last year alone, a figure that continues to climb. Right now, the figures for 2024, they're still being finalized. Social services, they're still collecting data. But based on what our Prime Minister said, and the numbers are still climbing, that could be the least, 583. Compared to the reports that came out in 2023, which only reported 409 cases of child abuse, which means that it could be a 42.5 increase comparing 2023 to 2024. And these are also reported, let me say, a lot of abuse still goes unreported. So with regards to the types of abuse, I'll go into the possible physical and behavioral indicators. For physical abuse, a possible physical indicator can be bruises or welts on the body, burns from boiling water or an iron, human bite marks, injuries, old and new, cuts to mouth, lips, eye area, or genitalia. Possible behavioral indicators can include inability to remember the cause of injury, unusual fear of physical touch, wearing clothes unsuitable for weather conditions, and reluctant to go home. For sexual abuse, possible physical indicators, injury to the genitals or rectal area, vaginal or anal bleeding, sexually transmitted infections, or frequent urinary tract infections. For possible behavioral indicators of sexual abuse, of course, we have disclosure of sexual abuse. Age inappropriate sexual behavior. And in regards to age inappropriate sexual behavior, I would give an example. And like I said, this is an easy conversation to have, but it's happening in our country. So an example of age inappropriate sexual behavior would be children performing oral sex on one another. That's not something that children do. That's not, if you know that it's happening, you know that it didn't form in their minds and they think that they're being exposed to something that is inappropriate. And there's a high chance that they could be being abused or being exposed to something. Sexually explicit drawings or stories. Children are very vivid. They're not as expressive as adults, of course, but it can be shown through drawings or them telling a story to someone, and then you might have an opportunity to catch it. Another possible behavioral indicator is arriving early to school and leaving late. Bedwetting is also another behavioral indicator. It's a regressive behavior, especially for a child that is well out of the age of bedwetting. Promiscuity is also a possible behavioral indicator, and a sudden accumulation of money or gifts. In regards to that, my mother was very stern in that regard. I can remember when I was in second grade and I saw in my classmate had like a diary. They brought in the diary. It was like a Lisa Frank diary, and I liked it. It was very colorful, and I just took it and I took it home and I said, "Mommy, look at this, what I got from school." And she looked and she was like, "Where did you get that from?" As a child, I wasn't expecting that question, but she ordered that I take it back. It was always a thing. She didn't accept what she called foreign objects into her home. Anything that she didn't buy, she didn't accept it. For emotional abuse, possible physical indicators, you have speech disorders, stuttering, or selective mutism. Delays in physical development. Emotional abuse can actually cause chronic stress that can disrupt a child's hormones and their nervous system. And also we have failure to thrive, meaning in a way they're not gaining any weight. A child might feel as if it's unsafe for them to eat or lacks consistent emotional care and bonding. Possible behavioral indicators, overly compliant, passive, and undemanding. Attention seeking. Poor self-image. Of course, it's never good to hear a child speak down about themselves or call themselves ugly or, "Oh, I'm not smart. I'm not going to college. I might," it's never good, even as adults, as a human being, but to hear a child say that, someone's definitely pouring into that child that they cannot. And lastly, we have depression, suicidal thoughts or actions. For neglect, a possible physical indicator can be consistently dirty and unwashed, consistently without adequate supervision, consistently hungry, tired, or falling asleep. Possible behavioral indicators, begging for food or gorging when food is available. Delinquent acts such as vandalism and drug use. Irregular or non-attendance at school and staying at school for long hours. Being an advocate starts with a heart that cares and a voice that speaks up. It doesn't take much to be an advocate. You don't need a fancy title or degree. You just need a heart for individuals. And in this case, a heart for the most vulnerable in our communities. So how you can do that? Listen to children and validate their feelings. And this first one, really speaks to me. I was telling my husband that I have two sisters that live in Canada, and my oldest nephew, you know, kids, he's 7. So most times when kids call you, it's really nothing much. Like when they call you and they want to say something, it's sometimes the silliest things. But one day I asked my sister, I said, Chelsea, I said, for every time you answer something, for every time you said, yes, baby, you know, and she said something that really stuck to me. She said, I do that because one day he might have something very important to tell me, or he might really need to talk to me, you know, and I never thought about it in that way. Children do say the craziest things, but don't shut them out. Don't shut them out. Children go through things, they experience things. There are predators out there, children in the schools, playground, clubs, social clubs. Sometimes you're there, sometimes you're not there. Most of the time, we're not there. That's just the reality of it. The majority of the time, our children are at school and we're at work. So always provide a space to actually listen. Report abuse and neglect when you suspect it. Now, let me repeat that. All you have to do is suspect it. Nobody's expecting you to do a full-on investigation if a child is being abused. Matter of fact, you could actually be doing more harm by deleting. Because with predators, as soon as they feel as if somebody's onto them, they can pretty much disappear. Not sort of small, but it's really big. You know, not sort of small, but it's really big. Or you might have a child that you're mentoring and you might see something. I don't think the best thing would not be going to the parent or the guardian saying, hey, I noticed this, hey, I noticed that, because you just might very well be talking to the person who's doing it. And then it might be a situation where you'll never see the child again. You understand? So I have here a number, we have 2 national hotlines for social services. If you suspect child abuse, I guess those who are on Zoom, they get print screen if they want, or I can share it afterwards. We also do have a child abuse hotline that's 711. So it's 3 numbers now, it's not 7. 3 numbers, 711, if you suspect, it's good enough. Sometimes all we have is a window size for you of abuse. Sometimes it's literally in passing, it can literally be in passing. And it's something just makes you think and be like, that's strange, or that's odd. And that might be the only opportunity. Because this thing, abuse can be around you and far from you at the same time. Create safe spaces, and that is important. Creating safe spaces, not only for your children or your grandchildren, but also the ones that want to come to your home, your children or your grandchildren's friends. You never know. People like to say, oh, at least I heard a number of parents say, especially in the program that I have, oh, my child knows. My child knows that he can come to me. My child knows that she can speak to me. Does she? Does she really know? Children are like that. Yes, they know that you're mommy and your daddy, but be intentional when you're talking to your children and your grandchildren. Talk about the tough stuff, because it's happening out here. There are children, there are babies being abused sexually. It is happening. Look, 2-year-olds, 3-year-olds, 5-year-olds, okay, know what it is. Know what oral sex is, they know different sex positions. These things are happening. We cannot continue to put a black sheet over this as if it's not here, as if it's not happening. It's here. Another thing I want to touch on is, I know it's not here, but in regards to being intentional, I'm not, when it comes to like pet names for private parts, I don't use it. I don't. Because he does have a penis. That's a penis, that is your vagina. This is your penis. Speak to your children. It might be hard, but you can possibly be saving that child's life, or something might click in that child and say, you know what, hold on, somebody's doing this, somebody's doing that to me. Because how predators do, some of them, they come off as if it's a game as well. And when you talk to them and tell them the good touch, bad touch, and another thing, when people normally would say stranger danger, I'm sure everybody heard about that, stranger danger, but I like to educate people on strange behavior. Because not all strangers are bad. Not all strangers are bad. So talk to your kids about strange behavior, what grandpa does or what he should not do. What this individual should and should not do, what I should. I have a little brother, and sometimes I get down on him and he just is like, I guess it's the point where he just wants me to be quiet, I guess. But because of the line of work that I do, I see a lot of things. Safe is gonna be 3 years in July, and the stories that I've heard, I cannot help but to educate. And I ask them questions like, okay, so if I come to your home, and I say, let's go, what do you do? Like, do I say, just let's go, don't tell mommy, what do you do? He said, I'll go with you. He was like, you wanna come with me? I said, no. I said, always make sure mommy knows where you are going. And when I say be intentional, like what the saying is, be careful over nothing, be careful for nothing. Have these conversations. And lastly, be present. Volunteer with a local nonprofit, or if you know a child that really needs your support, mentoring a lot of these children, they're not around a lot of positive influences. A lot of them, they come from homes where it's a lot of drug use, gang violence, guns. This is the reality of a lot of our children. You see the news, the youngest child I heard, having a gun, I think was, the youngest, I think was 13. 13 the other day, and he got caught with a gun. But if we're not doing what we need to do, because they're not being taught this in their homes, clearly. But if you can't save a child's life by just being connected, just being a mentor, it will change the future of our country. So Safe in the Bahamas. So of course, it was mentioned earlier that what Safe is doing, we're raising awareness of violence against children and mental health for adult abuse survivors. Right now, we have 2 programs in place. We offer free self-defense classes for kids ages 5 to 16, and with the classes, we offer lectures on child abuse, bullying, and gang violence. We started offering group counseling last year, July. And of course, therapy can be very pricey. It can be very expensive. A lot of people, they do need it, but they just cannot afford it. So we started last year and we've gotten some great results. A number of people, they went on to getting more counseling. So it was more of a introductory into it. In our country, especially in many of our communities, we don't believe in counseling. We don't believe in therapy. We're quick to link it to being crazy. That's just the reality of it. We're quick to say, oh, well, I'm not crazy. I didn't say that. I didn't say that you're crazy. I'm just saying that maybe you need to talk to somebody who can really give you some solutions to whatever it is. I shied away from it as well before I went into it. And for those in here who might be in counseling and never really got into counseling, I'm gonna be honest with you. I compare counseling to, like, remember when you would get like a fresh cut when you were young, and playing outside, you scratch your leg or you scratch your knee. I don't know why, but it's like green alcohol was a go-to for the adults that were around. And I remember the sensation of that alcohol. And it would burn like something, it would hurt. But it's gonna heal you. Counseling isn't easy, and if you've never done a session, I'm not even gonna sugarcoat it, it's not easy because you're gonna address a lot of things that you tried to hide. But I promise you, you're gonna reap the rewards and honestly be the best version of yourself. Oh, and another thing that we went into we did our second year last year of raising awareness of gender-based violence. So the 16 days of activism, it's always November 25th to December 10th. Last year, we did it for the second time, and we decided to hit home a bit more. So we covered cases that were in the Bahamas, some individuals might remember. And then a lot of people, they honestly forgot and was reminded of the cases and how long it has been among us. And it's a real thing to address. We're in the middle of a crisis. If we look at it, and when it comes to violence against women and girls, I mean, although men do experience violence, they do experience gender-based violence. But when we look at the ratio of it, when we look at the cases compared to, women and girls actually do need more protection. And I do invite everyone to probably take a look at our Facebook and Instagram pages to see the individuals that we did cover, going into more of the definition of it, and also the help raise awareness as well. Advocacy isn't a rule, it's a ripple effect. Help safe, make a difference. And you can help by helping us secure a permanent space. We're looking into starting a Boys and Girls Club at the end of this year. Right now, we're in the middle of our 6th cycle of free self-defense classes. So we have a lot of parents who are looking for more, and we need a space. We actually need a space to be more consistent, to let it be probably like Monday to Friday and probably half day on Saturdays. You can also sponsor a field trip or a lecture. Our next lecture is coming up on May 17th. And we have 2 guest speakers coming in to speak to our kids. Oh, by the way, we have like 18 kids now for this cycle. So we always invite the kids and their parents to come out, because we know that we cannot do it without the parents. So 2 guest speakers will be coming in talking about child abuse and bullying on that day on May 17th. You can also donate snacks. We have a lot of little babies. The youngest is 5. So if you'd like to, we really appreciate it. You can also become a volunteer. We're always open to like-minded individuals to come and make a difference. And also you can share safe resources in your community. And I'd like to leave with this quote from Mahatma Gandhi. The true measure of any society can be found in how it treats its most vulnerable members. Thank you. Some questions, if anybody has any questions?
Any questions?
Are you affiliated with the domestic violence or downstairs?
No, not at the moment, not at the moment.
Question? Tony?
Thank you for your presentation. I actually have 2 questions. First, 568 cases. Is that what it was?
583, 580 something.
548, 568, whatever it is. Is this relatively high on a per capita country basis if we stack ourselves up against other countries?
You know, I was looking for that information. Most websites say I don't wanna, I can get that answer for you.
Right, no, I could ask the question. No, if you don't know the answer, that's fine too. I have a second question.
It is very high. It is very
seems high to me.
Yeah.
I have a second question, and that is this, and I'm asking your opinion on this because there's no definitive answer. My understanding is in this country, we have a fairly large community of undocumented migrants who are working off the radar, so to speak. I'm wondering if social services is reaching the vulnerable people in these communities. I'm trying to be very careful how I put that, as you might have noticed.
They actually are, they try their best. Of course, like you said, that they're undocumented. There's a lot of reasons why they wouldn't come out. There's a lot of reasons why a child in, I would say, a shantytown, for example, there's a reason why, because they're either illegal or they can possibly leave the authorities to the community. And of course, the crime will be for a better way of life, of course. But I am in connection with somebody at social services, and also my husband, he's a police officer as well. It's tricky. I can't say based on the stories that I've heard. I can definitely say that they tried their best to assist, but the biggest thing is individuals not reporting in order for us to know what's going on, you know? And then you cannot force, you can't force anybody to come forward. That's another thing. You cannot force somebody to come out and say, hey, this is happening, X, Y, and Z. It has to be organic, you know? But thank you so much. Yeah, I'm sorry.
You go ahead, finish the question.
No, I'm happy to, no, I'm happy to actually hear that question. Because in our communities, we kind of, let's see if I can find a good word, but we kind of shun them. We kind of put migrants, immigrants away, and we don't like to talk about it, but they are here, and there are children here that are undocumented.
Yeah, I'm just gonna speak on, my experience from that end, that probably will further answer your question. On a daily basis, what we struggle with the most in this country is people are weighing their ability to wanna help and their dislike for government. They're weighing it out.
Could you
They'll
come
see-
to the mic,
Okay,
please?
Yeah.
Like I was saying, people weigh the options when it comes to really assist the community. Me as a police officer, you might wanna help a child if you're a neighbor of that child, but your dislike for law enforcement would influence you to say, well, you know what? That child is struggling right now, but I don't want the police around me. So I'm gonna keep what I'm saying to myself. I'm gonna keep that, yeah, that child, they're crying out for help. But people do not want to see the police, so they will actually watch adults abuse kids and just row amongst each other. They'll argue and say, why did you touch that child? Hey, leave him alone. They'll try to fix that themselves rather than putting it out there for social services to get involved. But as police officers, once we see abuse, we're gonna connect with social services. And if we gotta lend our resources, whether it's manpower, because the issue is also, social services cannot go in this community by themselves. They cannot act without the police. And we need social services to be part, so in partnering with social service, we need the community to actually view the product and the issue as an issue. When we get to that point where we get tired, we get fed up as a community, because the police are not everywhere. Right now, as it stands, we will be a minority when it comes to jobs. Because every day we get officers retiring, they're going about their life, and the younger officers, they decide not to be police officers because of the community. They want to change, but they want to be a police, they can hate me. Or I see a police officer do something unethical, or that's what they do, I don't be a police no more. They watch what the community, so we gotta challenge that and just think about the bigger person, I would say. Think about the bigger situation, because when you look at a child, you be like, okay, I may have an issue with a police officer. But if I'm going now, or my uncle may have an issue, but I get my uncle being, so instead of me saying, what the police do to me, I'm gonna speak on what the police do to my uncle, and I'm gonna dislike that police. So for a better word, I'm gonna use the word hate, but I'm gonna dislike the police force because what they did to my uncle, and then that trickle down to the child. Yes, yesterday I have a child running for me. That child, I just told my wife this morning, that's when she had this and I looked out of the way. Yesterday I was to work, I saw a little child, she's about 6 years old. And we have an issue in the downtown area, that's where I work in tourism, in the downtown area, where yesterday kids were off from school for the Easter. So what the straw vendors does is they bring those kids in, I don't know if you're familiar with it, but that's generation straw vendors. Their grandmother was straw vendor, so they take on that same job description and they bring their child in and their child sell those little Bohemian bands, the tourists. And they go wander all about by themselves. The mother's by the straw market and this child's at McDonald's, 5 years old. By themselves. Selling bags. And tourists, they see that, oh, look at the child, and they want to help. They intentionally do it because they know you're gonna look at a child who probably look a little dirty and raggedy and be like, okay, I'm gonna help that child. So they use their child to get funds. So that child right now is being exposed to a situation where people are looking down at them and giving them money, but what they don't see is that's a predator. That's also a predator also working, who's looking all at that child, man, let's grab this child right child. And when I took the child back to the mother and explained, she got upset with me. And she told me, oh, well, lock the child up there, lock him up. If you see the child there, selling those bags, look, and she missed the whole point. I said, Mom, you have your child here by himself, you're endangering your child. Oh, I leave them with my cousin. I said, the same cousin who was by Senior Frogs and your child is around the corner by McDonald's. That cousin? I said, you cannot, nobody's gonna love your child if you love your child. Leave your child with you and your care. And it rubbed me the wrong way because that's what we're struggling with as a society. And that child earlier that day, they came right back out, and when they saw me, they run around the curve. So now you can imagine a 5-year-old who barely could walk is running from the police.
Wow.
Running.
It's very serious, sure.
So I just want
Just,
that-
just before you go, I know time is already gone. We're really into our parking lot time, but we have seen the introduction of the Marco alert, the buzzing that is now on our phone whenever somebody is missing. Do we have a list? What was it called? The Marco alert, which is now in place. Do we have a list of a predator list that is normally given to a community if someone is served and a time, and so these people could come right back in society and we don't know. So
That's a challenge. That's one of the challenges we have with this thing, because as you know, the Bahamas family island. That's just what you face. That's just face it. The whole Bahamas, they treat everything as the country is too small now. And even the people who put those things on play, they have a family member who deserve to be on that list.
yeah.
So what they do is, instead of looking at it like that, they say, I'm gonna protect my uncle. My uncle touched me, my uncle touched my sister, but I still want to protect my uncle, so I don't want to put his name out there. So now the government is struggling with putting names on it. The minute they brought it to the table, actually having a predators list that even when you leave prison, you're supposed to get put now on a predators list. But they just battling with it, and it just come out that, you know what we're gonna do? We want to give them a chance to change their life instead of actually listing it.
Wow, this is obviously a very, very, very sensitive and hot topic. Come on, give it up for Mr. and Mrs. Smith. I didn't realize this is actually a husband. He go very good. Did not go, I look good. So that's a very good thing, but don't leave yet. It's a very, very sensitive topic, but a very, very crucial topic. And I certainly hope, pray that you do get the support, like your husband said, it's not something that is easy. Being someone who is in authority, and he's representing, I guess, so many children who could be affected. But again, thank you so much, Mrs. Smith, on behalf of the Rotary Club of Nassau. And of course, we have a certificate on the screen for you, and just a little gift to say thank you. It's not everything that we could do, but we wanted something that you could remember us by. Every time you have a cup of coffee or tea, you remember that you spent time in the Rotary Club of Nassau. Come on, let's give a room up around the clock, and we hope that we can invite you to come up again. Lucky, you want to say something before you sit down? You want to say something else?
Well, I guess I can say thank you so much for having me. The conversation is ongoing. It doesn't end here. You can never stop talking about this moving social issue that is plaguing our country. So, like I said, do your part, be intentional with not only your children or your grandchildren, the children who you come in contact with. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Come on, give me some steps to that round of applause. And I think this is very, very important thing to say. I think we all hear this with the TSA. If you see something, say something. We all were children.
And for some of us, we would have been impacted by it, or some of us had a great childhood. But the most important thing is we have to protect the most vulnerable. And I'm sorry, it doesn't matter to me gender, whether it's male or female, man or woman. I just don't say just protect the women, protect men and women. Nowadays, we have to protect everyone. Well, let's go ahead and we have to make, just before we close up, I do want to recognize, we just realized we have actually 8 past presidents in this room here today. 8 of our past presidents are actually in the room. And I definitely want to recognize them. We have Larry, past president. We have Sheila. We have, of course, the great Joker, jokester today. We have Dottie. We have Laverne. We have Joan. Please, Joan. Of course, we have Sam, and of course, we have Raquel. Yes, yes, Tony.
Twice.
Yeah, exactly.
I said Raquel twice.
No, Sam took out twice.
Oh, he was president twice.
Yes.
I taught you twice.
So you got 10 past.
I think you do it, Jody. Plus we had Dwayne, Stevie, that was it here. Did you get Dwayne when we get a picture? Did you get a picture of that, with me presenting that to her? Before you leave, we have to take a picture with that just before we leave. Let's wrap up. And of course, almost past President Wayne.
Yep.
And so let's stand very quickly and wrap up our meeting today. And for those of you who are online, thank you so much for being with us today. I'm gonna ask Joan, I'm gonna ask you to do our, but let's do our 4-week test, and then we're gonna have you do our review round. 4-week test of the things we think, say or do. Is it the truth? Is it fair to all concerned? Will it build and better friendships? Will it be beneficial to all concerned? And certainly, will it be fun? Fun. Everyone grab their glasses as we have past President Joan come and give us our final for the day. Final toast.
Terrence, I'm gonna be like Larry and say to those who are here and for those who are here, let us raise our glasses to Rotary around the world.
Wonderful. Thank you so much.
Around the
Meeting is now officially ended. Everybody come, we haven't done a picture in a little while, so can we come up to the front? Let's do a quick picture, especially with our guest presenting our husband.
But it didn't work. It has to be something with the show.
No, because I use my family, okay, they work fine, so.
Right. Good day, everyone. Take care. Bye.
All right, let's make it quick.
I don't think so.